Good evening, ladies. Thank you for returning. Listen, as you know, we had Miss Lorraine Taylor on previously. Unfortunately, there were some glicks in the sound on our site. So we she has been gracious enough to come back and join us again tonight. So guys, we this time you'll be able to hear and clearly see Miss Lorraine Taylor. So she's coming into the room momentarily, but we just want to let you know that we appreciate you coming back to the show and watch. Dylan, you guys were extremely impressed because you came back a second time, and I see that you joined us. So listen, this evening, we know that it's been a long day for Miss Taylor. We're not going to hold her as long as we did last time, but we do want to emphasize points that we want you guys to listen very closely to tonight. Now, there's going to be a fundraiser that she's going to be speaking with you about. As you know, Ms. Taylor started this process called 1,000 Mothers. Unfortunately, we want to again offer her condolences in the loss of her sons. So, without further ado, Ms. Taylor, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
Yes, I can. And listen, we are very pleased to have you return to our show. And we do understand that things happen. And we know that Murphy's Law, Murphy never takes off. Murphy continues to work.
Yeah, it's like today it was one of those days where one of our grieving mothers, who a lot of people don't understand, once you lose a child, it's just not, I don't want to minimize that loss either. It's after the funeral when you are faced with a lot of issues. And many mothers
Yes.
cannot stand to stay in the same house anymore because of the memories. And in this case, this mother had to leave her home. And she's been homeless for 2 years. And we finally
Wow.
got someone because of the high rent in Oakland to rent to her. But he's dragging his feet. And she just said, I'm tired of sleeping on the sofa, Lorraine. My back is hurting me. And I just can't wait to have a bed. So we were able to help her with her security deposit. We were able to help her with things for our house already, like comforter sheets, towels, and small appliances. So we're praying for all of the grieving mothers out there. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one.
Yes. Well, Lorraine, we are just thrilled to have a person of your strength to come back and be with us again. We're pleased of the fact that the 1,000 mothers. I speaking as a son, having my mother didn't have to experience the loss. So no one should ever waste your time nor insult you saying, "Well, I know how you feel," because we know that they don't.
No,
So pl-
we don't want
please
them to know.
please allow me to share that. Well, actually, you know what? This is a perfect introduction. We don't need to return to a formal introduction as far as Miss Lorraine Taylor. She is the founder of 1,000 Mothers. As you've heard just in our opening statement here, she's out there working hard right now, and you heard the story, so you do not need me to repeat it. However, I will ask Ms. Taylor, since you got some, I see we have some new people here,
Yeah.
if you will, if you kind of just share with them your initial story and how this all came about.
Yes, Melvin, thank you for having me today. And hello to everyone out there in listening land. We appreciate you joining us tonight. I got the news on February 9th that the day before, February 8th, my twin sons, my 22-year-old twin sons, Albady and Obadiah Taylor, who were working their way through college, had been murdered in the city of Oakland. That was February 9th, 2000. And like you said, people won't understand the tears because they think after 20 years that you should be able to go on. Yes, I am on the upward turn. I am doing much better, but I cannot say that the pain does not remain, especially during the holiday season. It was Christmas 1999. My boys love to work. I taught them to work, and I knew they wanted to get double, 1.5 times their salaries on the holidays. So I told Gregory, my youngest son, you make sure your brothers are here. Yeah, I don't care. I don't want to hear any excuses. They have to be here for Christmas. And that was our last Christmas. That was our last Christmas. We took photos together. and Abadi was ready to leave dinner and go to his night job at UPS. They were working their way through college and they were very independent. So when it comes around to holidays, especially the stressors that we have that are grief related or sometimes multiply. So we have to stay centered. I encourage my families to call me, call someone at this time, take advantage of your support system. Those people who understand, who's not going to judge you. I tell you, you should be able to move on now. You can't bring them back. It's God's will. Please don't say that. Just be there for us. And we love you and we appreciate it because you will never, ever know about this indescribable pain. Hopefully, you will never know because it is indescribable.
You know, Lorraine, as you share that, please allow me to ask this question. When you encounter individuals that think they're helping, unfortunately, they are not helping, when they make those kinds of statements, does it anger you? Does it sadden you? Does it put up a wall? What kind of effect?
It used
And I know you can't speak for everyone.
Oh,
However,
yeah, especially from your family and your close friend. My closest friend told me, "Oh, I lost Eva, his mother, and you need to, move on." Oh my God, it hurt me so deeply. I am a little stronger now, praise God. I'm stronger. And what we try to do is to prepare our families to not take that dart into their heart so seriously because the people don't mean any harm normally. They really don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. And so I try and prepare our families to not be angry with them, but just understand they don't know and we don't want them to know.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Well, listen, as we move forward and with 1,000 mothers, I want to call you Mothers 1,000 so badly, but
That's our email.
As we move forward with 1,000 mothers, when I first encountered 1,000 mothers, I was looking for some information, and as I think I told you on the last show, I kind of stumbled up on it, and it just kind of hit me because there are so many organizations across various towns, especially in cities, where people talk about violence and stopping the violence and all this kind of thing. So with 1,000 mothers, and I know we probably talked about, I know that we did talk about on the last show, but since the sound was so distorted, if you will, just kind of walk us through the initial process of beginning 1,000 mothers.
Well, my sofa was my bed of affliction for many, many years. I know a lot of people are able to get up and start nonprofit organizations, I was not. I thought I was strong, but I was not strong. This event changed my life forever. Rather than being employed now, I became unemployed and now on long-term disability because of the grief-related stress that eventually took a toll on me physically. I was on my bed, my sofa most of the time. I didn't comb my hair, I didn't clean my house. I was isolated. I was not well. You see, depression is a mental illness and it has to be treated that way. A lot of people just kind of brush it off like, oh, she's depressed. No, it's a little more serious than that. When you isolate yourself for so long, you really do need to seek help. But it was on my sofa when I could sense the Holy Spirit speaking to me one day, saying to me in the middle of the day, Lorraine, you can lie here and die here or get up and live. What do you want to do? And I said, Lord, I want to live. And that's when I fell on my knees. It was, I lay there for a minute and I could picture faces of mothers like me. And it hit me. You're not the only one. And the Holy Spirit said, go see about those other mothers. So I went to a local store. I asked the Lord, I talked to the Lord about it. What should I do? What can I say? And take them some food. So I went to a local store and I kind of demanded their spoils. which were not real spoils. It was like too many steaks, too many chickens. So I remember going to Trader Joe's and I said, "Sir, I need your spoils." He said, "I'm sorry, ma'am, but we're giving them to Pastor Dan." I said, "Sir, I am not taking no for an answer." And I started to cry. I knew that I had to do this mission. I started to cry and I said, "This is not for me. This is for people like myself." And we lost our children and I want to go help them. And he said, "Come back next Wednesday." Next Wednesday, they gave us a bunch of steaks and chickens and leftovers. And I started knocking on doors. The San Francisco Chronicle had been reaching out to me like the mass media because it's unusual to hear of twins coming into the world at the same time and of course and dying at the same time. But I wouldn't talk to
Yes.
one for years. But at 6 years later, on my way to People's Park, because I had too many sandwiches on this pickup to give away by the use by day. They gave us hundreds of sandwiches. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna disperse all of this. Okay, let me take it to the park. I and the San Francisco Chronicle called me and I said, "Hello, this is Lorraine Taylor." "Oh, this is the San Francisco Chronicle. We want to talk. I don't have time," I said to them again. I said, "What are you doing?" This lady, who's my friend now. I said, "Well, I'm on my way to People's Park to give away. Can we follow you?" They followed me to People's Park in Berkeley. In 4 months, they followed me to other places where I was going to visit my families. So it was at the park, the lady the photojournalist said, "Oh, I just think you're an amazing woman." She didn't even know me. I mean, I wasn't really that amazing. I was like hanging the phone up on reporters and demanded they took my boys' stories off the TV. I don't watch TV until this day because of the post-traumatic stress. I didn't think I was so amazing. So she called the managing editor and they did a profile on me, followed me 4 months, published a story, and the phone started ringing off the hook. "How did you do it? How did you get through it?" But they didn't know I was still not really through it.
Not through it.
I was getting
Okay.
through it, but I hadn't gotten through it. So we started a support group in 2007. And most of the complaints from my families were that they had problems with the police. They had problems getting their phone calls answered, returning. They had problems understanding why the cases were remain unsolved, why there were so many cold cases in the city of Oakland. And so I enjoyed my meditation. I was angry too, and I was bitter, and my bitterness was not a joke. It really had me bound. I said, "Okay, Lord, we need to bring the police on our team. We need to forge a relationship with the police department, at least the homicide unit." And so Chief Batts, who was the chief of police at the time, welcomed us in to hear our complaints. And of course, until this day, we still have a relationship with the Oakland Police Department in that they contact us on occasions when there's a family who needs support. And our
Mhm.
upcoming event, which is one of the programs, the 1,000 Mothers. Okay, let me back up a little bit. I'm getting ahead of myself. The first, after the Chronicles did the big report, which was like front page, two pages inside, and another insert. Someone said it was the largest story they'd ever seen in the Chronicles. Well, we decided to hold a meeting at the Jack London Inn so I could address my families. And we had some hors d'oeuvres, and that's when we gave the first apple pie award to a police officer. Because I was fussing at them. I was telling you guys, I know that there's got to be at least one good apple among you. I told him, I said, in every berry, there's a bad apple. But we're not going to think that that bad apple has spoiled the whole berry. There's got to be some good officers. And we found some great officers. And at our event, we gave them an apple pie award. And every year we do, yes, we changed it to something that was more tangible, an award from 1,000 Mothers. Every year we do our Purple Gala. We call it the Purple Gala now. And we give an award to a survivor of the year. This year, Catherine Martinez, who lost her son to violence, will receive the Survivor of the Year award. We give a youth survivor, Eris Turks, who's part of 1,000 Mothers Project SMART. This is where we take the youth away from the grieving parent and work with the grieving youth. He's getting a Youth Survivor of the Year award. And Acting Deputy Chief Dranon Lindsay of the Oakland Police Department will receive our Law Enforcement Officer of the Year award. We have some other awards that we give away, but those are our major awards that we give to encourage our police department, as well as to encourage our survivors. Look like that it muted. Did it mute? Can you hear me, Melvin? Okay. All right. So we have the COPE Support Group, which is one program of 1,000 Mothers to Prevent Violence. We meet monthly at Market Street Seventh-day Adventist Church in Oakland from 1:30 until 3:30. We sit in a circle, check in, talk about how our week has been. We have educational information about grief. Sometimes we'll have a guest to come and speak with us. That's the COPE Support Group that grew out of the article that was in the San Francisco Chronicle. And of course, it grew to the Purple Gala, where we all come together at the end of the year. And may we have our Walk for Healing, which is another story. And so.
Well, please feel free to share about both those events. Go right. I told you, I see thumbs going up and hearts, and it's just a very heartwarming story. And we have some new listeners tonight that we didn't have last time, and they are really into your story. Please continue.
Yes, I love you all too so much. And we opened this event up to the public on December 14th. It's our 11th Purple Gala. It would be the 12th, but one had to be canceled because of a strike in the city of Oakland. So this is the 11th annual Purple Gala. We address envelopes. We put our return address and stamp on the envelope. This time we did. Usually the police department would do that for us, but they're having a turnover now. We give them to the homicide unit. They send them out to the most recent survivors. In the city of Oakland, there has been approximately a little more than 70 murders. And we add 2 complimentary tickets for those next of kin to come, and we love on them. We put on an immaculate dinner, and we decorate really well. We love them. And even their families who want to come, we have trained our volunteers to not question anyone if they don't have money, not to judge anyone, but to love everyone as if they are kings and queens. Because at this time of the year, especially, is when we need to embrace and to be strength for one another. So we invite everyone to join us. Those people who can donate, it is in part a fundraiser because we do need to keep our programs and services alive. We ask for $75 or whatever you can give, but we've never turned anyone away. And we've always had enough food. I think it's going to be quite a few people there this year based on the RSVPs. Chef G, it's a tongue twister, Chef G.W. Chu of the Veg Hub in Oakland will prepare a great vegan meal for us. Now, if you never had veggie meat, you might like it or you might not, but it's delicious. And DJs will provide some real meat for those people who can't deal with what they call fake meat. I call that real meat, really. When you have the chicken that's not chicken burger and the beef that's not beef and gravy, it's really awesome. And he's actually going to be there to serve us with his volunteers. And it's going to be really wonderful. We'll have a tree of remembrance. And this is where our families will line up. We have some specially made ornaments to hand them, to pass them, and they will hang it on the tree in memory of their loved one. And this year, there's one father in San Francisco who lost 3 sons. And
3 sons.
Yes. And for those like him and myself and some others, they'll be hanging 2 ornaments, because it used to be where it may be 1 child. Now there are multiple fatalities per family. And there was a time where it was the males. Now it's females are getting murdered also. So this
Now,
is a,
I I don't want to, what word am I looking for? I know what you're explaining and the kind of work that you do could it has to be perpetual pain. So I certainly do not want you to have to fold into that.
I,
However, if you will just kind of share with us now, one event is a walking event, and the purple event. What and I think if I'm not mistaken, you also said something about you guys do a walk as well.
yes, the Walk for Healing comes up in May. It's the Saturday before Mother's Day, and sometimes I wonder why I added another major event in a year because for those listeners who and you who do events, it's a lot of work involved, a lot of
Yeah,
detail involved
yeah.
in putting on an event. But this one was born out of my own need to find an alternative to antidepressants. Now, when I say that depression is a mental illness and it has to be treated, there are different ways of dealing with it. And in 2007, I thought I would re-enter the workforce and go back to school to work on a second master's degree because I felt after 6 years what I learned at USF was no longer there. Everything was gone. It was my mind was just full of bad memories. So I went back to school and was now employed at the VA in Menlo Park. And every time the vet would mention the AK-47, the tears would start to run all day, all night. I would lock myself in my office to try and get myself together. That wasn't happening. And eventually, my doctor said to me, Mrs. Taylor, you cannot do mental health. So now I'm working on a master's in social work. And I'm thinking, well, what do you mean? I'm just 6 units away from my MSW. I'm okay. I can do this, I thought. So
Yeah.
he said, no, you cannot work right now. And I was devastated. He said, in fact, you need to take medication. And I had gone 6 years without taking medication, even though it may have benefited me to a point.
Mhm.
So I went ahead to take the medication. The medication, I'm not a licensed therapist, so I'm neither for nor against antidepressants. It has its up and down side. For me, it was more down.
Wow.
I would take the medication. One of the drugs had me sleeping a lot, and then they changed it to from Paxil to Zoloft. I think it was the Zoloft that had me hearing bells. I would be running to my door. Who is that? Who is it? And nobody's answering. And then one day I was lying in my bed, and the sun was shining. Now in the South, they say that if it's raining and the sun is shining, that means the devil is beating his wife, right? I'm wondering, okay, the sun is shining. I'm hearing some thunder roars and sound, that was all in my head. And so I said, this medication is not working for me. I have to find an alternative. And so I asked the Lord, I said, Lord, would you please help me to be happy again without this medication? Because what it did do for me, I wasn't waking up every morning greeted by tears. And I had this sense of happiness. I guess it was false. And I asked the Lord to help me to be happy without the medication. And as I lay there and I knew I couldn't tell my doctor and I meditated, I saw water. And so I knocked on a mother's door, Michelle Allen, who actually saw and murdered in front of her house. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And she would not come out the house for anyone. And I begged her, Michelle, please come walk with me. She did. We walked around the San Leandro Marina Park, and I felt the air from the water slapping against my face. There was something about that walk that I thought, if I can do this, I can do without the medication. And I started walking every day, and I threw the medication down the toilet. And so that was the beginning of the idea of the Walk for Healing. So I
Okay.
said to myself, well, if it's making me feel better, perhaps it'll make others feel better. And this year would be our number, I think 10, number 10th Walk for Healing, or the ninth, I forgot. Last year, Juan Escovita was there, Tony Lindsay, just a lot of wonderful artists, Jay Logan. These are famous people who could
Yes.
be making money with their time. One, Joaquin Solaranzo. Oh, I'm sorry, I may have done something wrong here. Joaquin Solaranzo. These people could be making money with their time because they're professional musicians. They come out and donate their time just for us while we sit on the grass, eat hot dogs and chips, and the kids get their face painted. And last year, Tony Sko from KBLX was there. He'll be at our Purple Gala, by the way. Tony Sko, I asked him to come and make us laugh, and he said he would be delighted to come. That's on Saturday, December 14th. But we have these wonderful people who come together. The police department is usually there with us to say, okay, we hear you. We hear you. We feel what you're going through. And we just want to let you know that we don't want them to feel our pain or to experience it. But they are saying we're just here to show support. That means the world to me, and it means the world to our families that are dealing with grief related stressors. I wish that there was never another murder. It hurts me. My mother called me today. Lorraine, did you get the news article that I sent you? I said, no, Lolita, I didn't get it. She said, but I sent you one. We need to go to San Francisco. And I said, well, we will. I'll get the article and we'll find these families. And what we do, we take a check, a small check to them, and bag of groceries. I don't do Trader Joe's anymore, but we get food from other places. We take them food and we just pretty much listen to the need. As in the case of this mother today, the need was, I can't stay where I used to stay. I need a place to stay. And so I'll advocate on their behalf to try and help them get housing or whatever it is that we can do. So I don't have much of a life outside of 1,000 Mothers, and I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I don't have time for anything else. My whole life has been consumed with what God called me to do. And because of that, I don't worry because he called me to do this.
And it's just such a heartwarming story. I know you and I had discussed previously about your desire to put that beautiful voice on display. Can you tell us just a little bit about the singing? And I promise I'll let you go.
Oh, Melvin, it's okay. It was when I was 8 years old. My teacher, Miss Mary Lou Gibson, insisted I sing in school on stage. She taught me a song called I Wonder Do You Love the Lord Like I Do? And from that day on through high school, I was on every single program, shaking in my knees until I overcame the stage fright. And after leaving home, my desire was to become a recording artist. I love singing. I used to get on my family's nerves early in the morning. My mother would pray. She would walk through the house and pray in the old wooden house. And I would just break out into some songs to the top of my voice so the neighbors across the road could hear me. And so, excuse me, I said, okay, when I leave home, I'll get a job. I'll pursue my singing career. I write songs also. I didn't really have the connections. So following 13 years of a rocky marriage, following my divorce, I wrote a song that I thought was a great song. It's called However God Still Takes Good Care of Me, on my way to work in San Francisco. And I said, Lord, I would like to record this song. So that was my first song that I recorded. And just in 2010, I believe it was, Dave Council, his Jerry Davis' wife, let me back up a little bit, called and asked if I could sing at her mother's funeral. Jerry Davis owns a studio in the Hayward Hills. And he said, you need to meet Dave Council. He's a great producer. So he hooked us up and we created a beautiful project called Gumbo for My Soul, giving Dave the credit for his genius. This guy is a genius. He could play any instrument, and all I would go in there sometimes after he insisted, "Boo, come to the studio." I said, "Dave, I don't feel like it." I was still going through my depression, and I said, "I don't have any material. Come." And he'll say, "Okay." I said, "Well, play something on the piano." He'll play something. I'll hear a song. I'll hear a hook of a song. And I'll say, "Okay, Dave, I hear this." He'll play it. And within about 8 hours, we would have composed a song that made sense. So the CD that I have now is called Gumbo for My Soul. And on that CD, I wrote a song in memory of my twin sons called Take a Stand that I sang at the Million Mile March in Oakland in 2000. And that song made the compilation CD with famous people. I'm the only one on there that's not famous. There are singers in
Oh, you are definitely famous. You are definitely famous. So, but please continue.
Yes, when they called me and said we heard about your song in Oakland, we want to add it to our compilation CD with Emmylou Harris, Melissa Etheridge, and all of these people whose name Anna, Susan Sanderon, that I really didn't. I said, but no, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. And they said, "Mrs. Taylor, we think it's good enough. Would you please let us?" And I said, "Well, okay." With when you are depressed and when you are beaten down by grief and bitterness, nothing really matters to you. Your self-esteem is very low and you're just treading waters. But I am grateful to God for giving me a gift to sing and to write music. That the field is very competitive. There are so many wonderful singers out there, and I never really thought I was good enough to compete. And I don't like the word compete. That's the thing. I would never go on American Idol or anything. People go on American Idol. No, I can't do that. But I believe that when it's time, the music will be heard by the mass in God's time. I don't worry about it. I have them right here. This CD, someone gave me a donation to get some copies, and I just give them away. I give them away. And I don't lose anything because one day I gave a lady a CD. She wrote a check for $100. And one lady called me and said, "I'm always giving your music to my friends. I need to get some more." So even though I don't have a major record deal, I haven't been shopping one, someone is being blessed by the music. That's my story. It's my story and my songs.
Wow, that's beautiful. Listen, perfect place to stop because we know this is the second part, and we certainly don't want to prolong it because you've done so much and you've had such a busy day and such a busy life and all of the beautiful things that you do to help mothers and help grieving mothers and I'm sure dads and just the children themselves.
Yes, we
It's
have fathers too. I just like to say that mothers need the brothers. Yes, we do.
absolutely. I think it's just wonderful. So listen, if you would tell our audience how they might contact and even contribute to 1,000 Mothers.
Sure, you can reach us through our website, which is now it's under development, but the donate button is still working, I'm sure. It's at www.1000mothers.org. That's 1000mothers.org. And our mailing address is Post Office Box 781 Hayward, California, 94543. You can call us at any time at 925-999-9927. That's 925-999-9927, or on my cell phone at 510-581-00. We're just one telephone call away. And just know that if we can't do anything, we can pray for you and encourage you.
Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the incomparable Miss Lorraine Taylor. And as you can see, 1,000 Mothers was a brilliant idea. And let us say, I was going to use the word sadly, but I will say this. I want to extract that word, because we don't know what God has in his plan and how he intends for us to become who we are and to share. So
Yeah.
please allow me to say that 1,000 Mothers is a phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal organization. Getting to know Lorraine Taylor is definitely a phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal happiness for me, because I certainly intend for this relationship to continue and to blossom.
Yeah.
And we need to do more with 1,000 Mothers, and it needs to be a national organization.
Well, you're going to help me write my book. God gave me the book, told me to write a book in my
Absolutely.
dream, and he gave me the title. So I have your books here. The book
Yes.
that you sent me, I'm looking forward to reading Dying on My Feet, and the mothers and their smins, and the muscles.
Well, thank you.
Yes, all three books I'm playing. I have them right here.
Oh, I believe
You
you.
know, I received them. I'm going to read them. They're right
Thank you
here where
very
I
much.
can see them. Thank you so much, Melvin.
Thank you
Thank you
very
for
much.
your contribution.
Well, thank you so very much. So, guys, listen, next week we are going to take a hiatus, but we'll be back the following week, and I'll be putting some advertisements up. We want to say to each and every one of you, we're going to wish you a Merry Christmas. And I know sometimes I have listeners that have their opinions about Christmas. That's not where we're going. We just want to wish you a Merry Christmas. And listen, again, to Ms. Lorraine Taylor, it's certainly been a blast. And for those that might want to contact me for additional information, I am Melvin Lars, the Nobody Asked Me guy. And you can contact me at www.yourbrighterfuture.org. I'm sorry, that was my old website. www.dyingonmyfeet.com. www.dyingonmyfeet.com. And 440-935-0374. 440-935-0374. If you would like to send us an email, please send that email to all lowercase, the Nobody Asked Me Guy Show at gmail.com. All one word, all lowercase, the Nobody Asked Me Guy Show at gmail.com. We certainly want to thank our listening audience. As you guys know, we are live on Facebook. We are live on Instagram. We are live on Periscope. We are live on YouTube. So I know a lot of our live listening audience out there may have been asking questions, and sadly, I didn't get to those off the monitor. But come back and join us next time.
And Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
A pleasure.